On this week's video fishing forecast, we have cod and freshwater updates, the big all-pro show on Sunday, some catchers of bass on the Hudson, the latest on the striped bass regulations, and more. The fishing news is brought to you by Navionics, Okuma, Yozuri, Evinrude, Llama Glass, and the Star Island Yacht Club in Montauk, New York. We start off this week from the Connetquot River Preserve with senior editor Fred Golofaro.
Hey Tim, thanks. And yeah, it was kind of tough week out on the East End. Cod fishing is in a bit of a slump. You know, I heard one dragger captain talking about the fishing out in Montauk, and I overheard him say to another guy that the cod fishing is going to slump in, it'll only last 2 weeks. And I heard from another captain that felt the moon played a big role in that nice bite we had for a week or so a few weeks ago was related to the moon, and he's hoping that this moon, which is coming up this weekend, will turn things around again. So we'll see what happens. Some better news further to the west out of Captree, Captain Joe on the Laura Lee. He put together a couple of decent trips. They had some decent action with cod. They also had some ling and haddock and some out-of-season sea bass and blackfish, which had to be returned. But it was good rod-bending action. So South Shore seems to have the edge right now, and we'll see what happens on the East End. As far as herring go, still the best reports coming from the far West End, Canarsie Pier, Coney Island Pier, 69th Street Pier, places like that. And this mild weather that we've had this winter has helped keep those herring inshore. White perch, same thing. Everything is pretty much ice-free, all the creeks, and there's been white perch reports from a number of places. Not great fishing, but catching a few fish, and that keeps guys going. Santapogue Creek in West Babyon, Carmans River, Argyle Lake outflow, the Connetquot River, Carmans River, Browns River in Sayville, Tuthill Creek and Patchogue had some fish. Again, the key is ultralight tackle, 2 or 4 pound test, tiny jigs, an eighth, 3/16 of an ounce. You can use marabou jigs or a jig head tipped with a curly tail grub. But what seems to be working best, most of the reports I'm getting now are a jig tipped with nightcrawler. That seems to be the best bet right now. On the freshwater side, you still have the Connetquot River, and I'll give you more on that in a little bit later. But there's also freshwater bass, largemouth bass. There's pickerel. Out of season, it's catch and release only, but again, the mild weather is playing well and allowing guys to catch some bass and pickerel now. So you can do that. And there's also trout in some of the lakes, holdover trout that was stocked in the fall in some of the lakes. So there are options, and the weather's been great, so get out there and do it now. Tim, back to you.
Here's a list of some of the party boats that are sailing for cod this winter. The big All-Pro Expo and Workshops is this Sunday at the Huntington Hilton in Melville, and Captain Vince is all pumped up, and here he is to tell us all the details.
Thanks, Tim. The All-Pro show this Sunday is going to be insane. We've got wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling of premier vendors. They're selling everything. There's something for everybody. We've got the workshops, 35 classes, 24 topics, presented by 15 of some of the best Metro New York fishermen. We've got the DJ. We got the Angler's Corner, which is down at the end where you can speak to some great fishermen and just get some tips and tricks. We got the swag bags. Not 10, not 20, not 30, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of swag bags. For the kids, we got free fishing reels, line, some tackle, face painting. Tim, everybody's got to come down. It's going to be great.
I understand you have discounted tickets available?
That's right, Tim. There are discount tickets available right now at allproexpo.com. They're only $16. You're going to get the classes, the Angler's Corner, the Grand Ballroom. You're going to get those swag bags. The DJ's going to be playing. Why stand online? Why pay more at the door? Get them now, Tim. allproexpo.com.
Sounds good, Vince. Well, I'll be down at the show in the morning at the Fisherman booth until noon, so stop by, say hello, and let me know what you think of the weekly video fishing forecast, and maybe you too can be a correspondent. It's easy. Just ask. Here are some upcoming fishing events. Raul Ortiz, the urban angler, is back at it, and he let me know that the fishing at the lower Hudson River on Monday was really good. He was with his friends Gilberto and Aiden. They used light tackle with small Gamakatsu circle hooks and bloodworms for bait. The fish were in the 20 to 26 inch range, and Raul commented that these holdover fish were healthy and active, probably due to the mild winter we're having, and he thinks this will bode well for the spring. Captain Al Lorenzetti is back from his long-range tuna trip, and here he is to tell us a little more about the experience.
Well, I got to tell you, Tim, it was really awesome. A long-range trip out of California is really something any fisherman who loves to fish should do sometime in their life. And I mean, we had a blast. The food was spectacular. The fishing was off the hook good. We had yellowfin tuna up to 236 pounds. We had wahoo to like 50, 60 pounds, grouper, and it was just a blast. And those people out there really know how to show a good time, and I recommend it for anybody, okay? And so you get a chance to do it, make sure you do jump on it and try one of those long-range trips. Back here around Fire Island, there's a pick of fish offshore when you get the right weather. The Captree boats are sailing, and they're catching cod, even, believe it or not, some haddock, and a mixed bag of fish. So, you know, you get a good weather day, get down there, jump on one of the Captree boats, and go out and have a good time. So that's about it, Tim, for this week.
It's the 37th Annual Sport Fishing Federation Forum and Auction, February 15th and 16th. Get your fishing season started with over 50 exhibitors and more than 20 informative seminars featuring surf, inshore, offshore, wreck, bottom fishing, freshwater, and much more. Take part in the giant live auction on Sunday. Proceeds to benefit our Teach a Kid fishing program. Come join in the fun at the New York Sport Fishing Federation Forum and Auction, February 15th and 16th at the Freeport Recreation Center, Freeport, New York. Longtime Long Island Sound fisherman Jesse Manoski is guiding down in southwest Florida in the Pine Island area, and he reports the fishing is very good, especially for sheep's head. This past week, he put a family on the fish for a non-stop action. On the colder local scene, Fred Golofaro is back with all you need to know about fishing the Connetquot River Preserve.
If you've never been to Connetquot River State Park, you're really missing a treat. In the middle of suburbia here, you'd never know it. It's like being up in the Adirondacks. Yeah, the fishing's really good, but just walking through this park is a pleasure in itself. But getting back to the fishing, you might hear some people say it's not what it used to be, and I would agree it's not, but it's still pretty damn good. Some really quality rainbows now. They've done a nice job bringing back the hatchery, raising fish in here. A lot of brookies also, and it's just a great place to spend a few hours. You can come in, you can reserve a beat. A beat is for 4 hours. You can fish from 8 to noon or from noon to 4. The beats are on a first come, first served basis. You book it in advance. When you get here, it's whoever gets here first, you get your choice of beats. Right now, they're not stocking the upper section of the river, so obviously the most popular beats are down below the hatchery, and there are close to 20 beats that are fishable. Fly rod only, barbless hooks only, and don't be intimidated just because it's fly fishing only. If there's any place to learn fly fishing for trout, this is the place. So again, don't be intimidated. You can get set up very easily and inexpensively at some of the shops here on the island that cater to fly fishermen. You don't need a big selection of flies. You can keep it simple. Two of the most popular patterns here in the park are the woolly booger. They come in a variety of different color patterns, and tiny nymphs. This is a beadhead nymph. You can also get the woolly boogers in a beadhead style, and the whole purpose of that is to get them down near the bottom of the river. The park is open from Tuesday through Sunday, 6 days a week. Again, the beats are 8 to noon or noon to 4, and they may expand on that when we get into the warmer months. They may have an evening session also, but you can check on that when you come to the park. To get a beat, just call 631-581-1005, and they'll set you up with a beat. You just get here. It's a great time. It's a great place to be. Great therapy out of the hustle and bustle of Long Island. And again, one of my favorite places here on Long Island. Keep your tackle simple. Any fly rod in the 4 to 6 weight range will work fine in here. 5 and 6 weight's a little better if you're going to be throwing bulkier flies or patterns like the woolly booger. But again, keep it simple. A sinking tip line. I prefer a sinking tip line most of the time in here. And you don't need any fancy reels. You don't need a $300 reel to fish in here. Very simple, basic single action fly reel is fine. You will need a freshwater license to come into the park. It's available for $25, any of the town halls, or you can do it online. Just go to the DEC website and it's no mess, no fuss, real simple process. And that's good for the entire year.
With more fly fishing reports, here's Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Tim. Well, it's unbelievable. Here it is on the 4th, and guess what? Yesterday, it almost hit 60 degrees. This is a crazy year. Because of the great weather, a lot of guys spent off, said, I'm going to go fishing, and they went up to the Mianas, and they had a good amount of fish. Big Kev called me back. He said that he had a great day up there. He's been doing really well. He had a lot of fish. He's using a carve rod, and he had fish on. Didn't land all of them. He had one right to his hand. But, hey, it's fishing. T, who also bought a Takara rod, he's out there fishing at the Connetquot, and you know what? These are big fish, and it already broke his tip. But you know what? They're guaranteed, and they're easy to repair. So he was pretty excited that he had this nice big fish. Now, talking to the vets, because Project Hill Waters had their, on Monday, they had their trip up to the Connetquot. And they said they had fish. It was a little picky. Some brookies, some big rainbows. But this is this winter, and they're supposed to be stocking again this week. So if the weather holds, hey, you can't beat this weather to go fishing.
There's some news on the striped bass regulation front. New England editor Toby Lipinski has the details.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Yes, we had a big meeting this week. The ASMFC, Atlantic State Marine Fisheries Commission, met on Tuesday. This was their annual winter meeting. A lot of topics to be discussed this week. Biggest for us at the moment, anyway, is on striped bass. Now, there was a lot of stuff talked about at the meeting, but the most important item to us immediately at this time, at least for our viewers here at YouTube, is the regulations changes going into effect or pending changes for the 2020 fishing season. Now, the ASMFC manages the East Coast from Maine through Florida. However, for the striped bass, it's Maine through Virginia. And today, I'm just going to be discussing what occurred for Maine through New Jersey. If you want to know about the states south of there, you can drop a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer you, as I've got all the information about it for time's sake, just covering these. Of course, you can always email me at tlipinski@thefisherman.com, and I'll do my best to get your questions answered. All right. So we've got a couple of different things going on here. First off, there were a bunch of proposals that were on the table by some states. Some states were fine with the 28 to 35, and that's all they put in. If that's all they put in, that's what got approved. So I'm going to start off with the states that just have the simple 28 to 35 inch slot limit for 2020. Now, I got to let you know one item of clarification that was brought up at the meeting. The slot limit starts at 28. 35 inches the top end, but not inclusive, meaning it's actually 28 inches to 34.999999 inches in order to harvest that striped bass, and it's one fish per day. If it hits that 35-inch limit, it has to go back, or anything above it, of course. So states with a straight up 28 to 35 for all recreational anglers, whether private, shore, or on a for-hire boat, include Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Again, those 4 states have the 28 to 35 slot set. Official implementation is coming. Maine and New Hampshire have theirs already in place. Massachusetts possibly. I know Connecticut still has to make it official for them, but that's the only option they've got on the table. For New York, we've got for the ocean that 28 to 35 inch slot. That's private. That's private anglers, for hire anglers, and shore bound. You all got the 28 to 35 inch slot, as well as anglers on the Delaware River. Only change for New York, or move from that, is in the Hudson River. We've got 18 to 28 inch slot limited. Again, same as with the other one. Once you hit 28, it's got to go back. So it's 18 to 27.99999. That covers New York. Now, those are all approved on the books. It is what it is. That's what you're going to get. States which aren't quite there yet include Rhode Island and New Jersey, as they've got a couple of options each, which I'm about to discuss, and they still have to decide which one they're going to go with. So I'll start off with Rhode Island. They have 3 options available. They got the 28 to 35 slot like the rest of us, or a 32 to 40 slot for all anglers, private, for hire, shorebound. And a third option, which includes a split sector. The private anglers, whether you're on your boat or a friend's boat or from shore, would have a 32 to 40 slot limit. However, if you're on a for hire, 6-pack, charter boat, head boat, what have you, for hire deal, you would have the option of a 30 to 40 inch slot. So you get 2 extra inches on that low end. Again, same deal as before. The high end is where it's got to go back. You hit that 40 inch, it's got to go. So Rhode Island's going to have to decide in the next couple of weeks which one of those options they're going to go with. And then last up, New Jersey. New Jersey put in, just like everybody else, like most other states, multiple options, only one of which was approved, the 28 to 35 inch slot. However, they were granted the option to submit by the close of business this Friday, and that would be February 7th, one more conservation equivalency proposal. Now, the parameters on that proposal, it can have a maximum high-end length of 40 inches, and it must, of course, meet the 18% reduction as decided by, or as reviewed by the technical committee. Then once they have that approved as an option, it will go back to the state to decide between the 2835 and this alternate option. I believe New Jersey has their meeting next week. You can check out thefisherman.com or Jim Hutchinson's video for more details on that. New Jersey also had their reallocation of the commercial quota, which is pushed over to the recreational side in the form of a bonus tag program. That was approved. Again, they still have to decide exactly how it's going to be used, if it's used, because they do still have the option to cancel it or end it, as we did here in Connecticut. All right, so the one last item of note in regards to all of these, regardless of which choice your state makes or has already made, they must be implemented by April 1st. That was set back in October at the fall meeting of the ASMFC. So got a couple of weeks here, about a month and a half, what have you, 2 months, excuse me, to get it on the books, official, announced to the public. So, of course, we're going to have more information for you. We'll announce to you once any of those changes go into effect, or if there are any modifications that are made, which really is unlikely going forward, but nonetheless, we will have all that information for you. All right, well, thanks a lot. Thanks for sticking through it. There's a lot to discuss. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks for that, Toby. Well, Toby is tricking out his new kayak, and in this latest video feature, he will tell you all about the must-have accessories. I wanted to remind you that The Fisherman is now on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. So now you can watch this broadcast and our other video content on the big screen. Just search for The Fisherman TV on any of those devices. Remember, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dream Boat contest. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all related links and more information. And stop by to see me this weekend at the All Pro Expo and workshops. I will be at the Fisherman booth until about noon. Hope to see you all there, and I'll see you next week.